I respect the judiciary as an institution. One reason is that it has always protected the freedom of the press. So that is professional self-interest which binds judiciary to the press. The moment you use the term ally, there is a problem there. It should not be too close an alliance. You can be friends. Purpose may be the same, to protect the public interest, but alliance between one institution and another, and both happen to be watchdog. I would like the freedom of both the watchdogs to be protected, but the alliance between the two has some limitations because we are all supposed to be watchdog of the judiciary also, which possibly is an irksome kind of a privilege which we want to have. I respect the judiciary, as I said, because it protects the freedom of the press. It also is because it defends the freedom of the people, the fundamental rights, the right to live, and all that flows from it. If independent judiciary is not there, the press will not be independent. And if free press is not there, and I'm sure the judiciary also will not be independent. Indian press has the record for standing up for the judiciary, and then we were praised. We were considered very objective press and a brave press and a bold press. When the entire press stood up for what, in support of Justice Khanna. The judicial circles, bar and the bench, both praised us when we, in the press, opposed Mr. Gandhi's attempt to pack the Supreme Court before independence, when there was a talk of committed judges, or committed press, or committed bureaucrats. But when we criticize the judiciary, we can be held up for biased, mischievous propagandists. You're on the other side, all sides of things, or you're causing contempt. That is our experience with the politicians and the decision makers. When we praise them, we are objective, and when we criticize them, we suffer from biases and contempt or defamation. That somehow, that kind of attitude, lately, we are evoking from the judiciary also, which is unfortunate. But still, we will always be on the side of independent judiciary, even if sometimes we get battered by it. Because without independent judiciary, and also without independent press, democracy will not be safe in the country. Both are supposed to protect the rights of the people against arbitrariness, whether it comes from government, whether it comes from parliament, or whether it comes from any other decision maker. We're also in the press, also supposed to speak up or write against the arbitrariness of the judiciary also, which also is as accountable to people as Parliament and the executive are. So are perhaps the press also is accountable to the people. The two watchdogs have to watch over each other also, I can understand. So this close alliance may not be that should not be that cozy, but the roles are different. The purpose is the same perhaps. We in the press know that our right to free expression is not a sovereign right. The restrictions are there and listed in the Constitution itself, along with our freedom. At the same time, we have to serve the people's right to know, from where our freedom of the press flows. The judiciary's restrictions, call them reasonable from your point of view, can at times turn out to be unreasonable. So there's a conflict between people's right to know or the freedom of the press on one side and the judiciary's restrictions on our exercising that freedom. So there comes the area of friction, which often becomes more than irksome for us as well as for the judiciary. It implies a kind of adversarial relationship which actually it is not there. It has been seen on a wider screen that it needed to be. I don't think there's a crisis in the country over this problem, relationship between judiciary and the press. The relationship is bound to be irksome on both the sides. We are irked by restrictions, we are irked by what we write and do. Judges are also human, so are the media people, sir. I thought our job is to find fault. And sir, what do we do? I would like to be advised by the judges. When fault is the truth, my job on behalf of the people is to find faults in Parliament's functioning, executive functioning, including the judiciary's functioning also, and report back to the people so that they can exercise the right to force the principle of accountability to them, not to us, sir. You're not accountable to us. You're accountable to the people. We are just the message carrier for which the court should be thankful to us if we are reporting Supreme Court, if we are reporting high courts or lower courts. On behalf of you, we are educating the people of the country about the law which is emerging from the court, day in and day out, without training, without as much law which you know we cannot know. But yet the message to the people is going that they have rights. By and large, the court has, on vital questions, stood up for the people against arbitrariness, the Supreme Court of India, by and large. Now, people are more conscious now because we have conveyed the implications of your law to the people, including people in the villages, in the small towns, the illiterate, the ignorant, now are more conscious of their rights. It is because the media has been carrying the message of rule of law which you have enunciated or interpreted onto the people. And if when education spreads, the message will go deeper and wider. Freedom of the press also involves that we have to go into the details of functioning of Parliament. The Parliament, as you know and we know, and the courts also have come to realize what kind of Parliament it is not in what the Constitution, the founders of the Constitution really intended it to be. I'm not in favor of sting operations, but people have seen MPs accepting cash for asking questions. There are 40 criminals who are members of the Lok Sabha, and this is not my figure, this is a figure given by the Speaker himself. In UP Assembly alone, 175 MLAs are criminals. I'm not talking figures by figure by each assembly of the criminals. Some are criminals in very respectable clothing and still members of Parliament, some ministers. Some people become the ministers. Parliament MPs at times are no longer functioning as representatives of the people. When you write more about them, they haul us of a privilege. Administration, despite 60 years of freedom, remains distant and callous, indifferent to the people. The influential, the rich and the mighty, the bold, they find their way. Not the common man. We sitting in Delhi sometimes never knew, but now one has gone to the, for last 4 or 5 years I've been in the state capital and traveled in the interior. You find the administration much more distant, and those who have come from other parts of the country will be finding how callous also it is to the people. So judiciary is the last hope, the Kachari is the last hope for the deprived, those who don't have even access, least of all redress of their grievances. And if they fail in judiciary, they come to the press. And there, if there are some intrepid journalists, cross the boundary here and there, a little tolerance will be a better remedy than invoking the contempt of the law. Supreme Court has been, I won't say has been wanton in excising the law of contempt. But that I cannot say of the lower courts and also of the High Court. They have not shown that kind of tolerance which is required from the judges sitting on the bench. Often the judges who are waiting for promotion or who are very near promotion, they are more intolerant than the judges who are far away from the promotion. They think one report in the paper which adversely reflects on a judge, and while his case is pending for promotion to High Court or to the Supreme Court, they are more touchy.